Like 2 years ago, I was reading some book about the human eye and when you're sitting at desks all day, how you should light stuff. And nobody fact-checked me on this because it's probably not true and I probably just have false memory. But I somehow remembered that you're not supposed to backlight yourself if you're working on something. So like if you were writing a report or something on notebook paper, the light shouldn't be behind you or like coming from the ceiling fan. It should be coming from in front of you. So like if you had a lamp, you would put it in front of you, kind of point it towards your eyes, but angle it down towards the paper. So the whole point of this is that I decided to open the window that's next to my desk in the room to let the sunlight come in through there and also to kind of spy on the neighbors. But the result of that is that I now have a very clear view of the top of his house where a lot of squirrels like to run and do a lot of what seems to be parkour, just jumping from branches to another, one side of the roof to another.
So that's what squirrels do.
All they do is parkour?
Yes.
Well,
that's what they do.
That's my point here. I have spent the last 2 days staring out the window, and every time a squirrel does a flip, I just yell, "Hardcore parkour!" Welcome to Rocket to Anywhere, the show whose hosts wonder why people wear or even like jeans. I'm Corban.
Well, you just not include... Oh, wait. Yeah, never mind.
You see, I know what you have to say.
Okay.
Today on the show, we've brought out the fancy microphones again to talk about the long-awaited Season 4/Season 301 of the Amazon original show Just Add Magic. Also, as you may have already noticed from the opening and from when Sofia introducing herself, Sofia's voice is gone. We're at the point where she's starting to get her voice back and I'm starting to lose my voice. So we're in the middle ground right now where my voice sounds weird and her voice sounds weird, but it's the best we can do. Unless you don't want to get an episode until March.
I wasn't able to talk for a week. Well, exactly a week. And then so I'm barely trying to figure out how I usually sound.
How to talk again.
Huh?
How to talk again?
Yeah, how I usually sound. I don't really know how I usually sound.
That happened to a lot of people we know. They get sick, they don't talk for a bit, and then they start talking again. You're like, there's something wrong. Yeah. What happened to you? Okay. We have a bit of follow-up this week, and this is a follow-up on our last episode 59, where I had James on. I know, Sofia, you how do you feel about having an episode without you in it?
Okay, I didn't listen to it, so it's not like I know. So I don't know. I don't listen to our podcast.
This is like the inner tube where, if Kevin's gone a week, he doesn't even listen to the show.
Yeah, who listens to their own stuff?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
Okay, so anyway, we had talked about how Sir and Charles were supposed to be in the Hotel Dumont episodes of Serious Unfortunate Events Season 3, and if you don't care about that and didn't listen to last week's show, feel free to skip through this, but speaking of scripts, we're going to read a script from a cut scene from those episodes where Sir and Charles did show up. It turns out I don't think they were able to get the actors back for that, but in this scene, I will be reading the slugline and action reader person, and Sophia will be reading the roles of what?
Jerome and Klaus.
Okay. And I'll be reading Sir and Count Olaf along with that. So, you have your script up?
Oh, yeah, almost all done.
Okay. Interior, Hotel Dumont, 7th floor hallway, as before. Klaus knocks on the door, and it swings open. His eyes widen in surprise as he sees Charles. Come in. Interior, Hotel Dumont, room 674. Continuous. Charles, in a bathrobe. That was fast. I only rang 2 minutes ago. The workers in this hotel are very efficient. I do hope they're not hypnotized.
Charles?
Charles turns, though his eyes don't seem to land on Klaus. How did you know my name? Klaus quickly disguises his voice.
It's on your bathrobe.
I should warn you. I can't see you very well. I used to have a very excellent vision, but my eyesight isn't what it used to be. And for complicated reasons, I'm deathly afraid of optometrists. Would you please escort me to the sauna, please? I'm supposed to meet my partner. Interior, Hotel Dumont, 6th floor hallway. Later. Klaus leads Charles down the hall.
A sauna is good as a... Okay. A sauna is good for your health, so according to the library catalog, it should be in room 613. This way to your partner, sir.
Oh, my partner's not, sir. Not anymore. I finally realized that he wasn't very healthy, so I went on a walkabout and visited a lot of saunas for my health, and that's how I met my new partner. They enter to discover Interior, Hotel Dumont, sauna, continuous. Jerome Squalor.
Who's there? I can't see a thing in this steam.
It's your partner, and the concierge.
Ah, the concierge. I love an aqueous martini. I'm hooked on them, though they're terribly out of style.
Who cares if they're in or not? Jerome is delighted by this. So here's when Jerome would turn to Klaus. We're just skipping over some of these, but this is where he would turn, so the next line of dialogue is directed towards Klaus.
Now, my partner and I have business to attend to. Top secret business.
Klaus freezes. You shouldn't say it's top secret out loud. That's not very secretive. But would you terribly mind stepping out, Klaus? He's speaking to Klaus there. I added the Klaus on the end, just so it makes sense. Okay. Klaus steps out of the room, but continues to eavesdrop. I hope we won't word to the concierge.
I hope not, too. Esame was always a monster to the help. But there are enemies lurking in this hotel, and you can never be too careful.
That's what J.S. told me. We have to be very careful if we want to help the Baudelaires.
Ah, the Baudelaires. Giving up on being their guardian was the biggest mistake of my life.
Don't be so hard on yourself. The root of all their troubles was Count Olaf, and we can stop him. At least that's what J.S. said in his telegram.
That's funny. I got a different telegram. J.S. invited me to a cocktail party on Thursday for extra wealthy, extra guests.
Sounds very pretentious and sort of dull. Jerome is delighted again.
Wow, you're incredible. Beat. Okay.
Beat.
J.S. said to bring a bottle of parsley soda and all my valuables. I wonder who it is.
You're J.S., dear.
Well, I think I'd remember inviting myself to a cocktail party.
Klaus makes a decision and enters the sauna.
I don't mean to eavesdrop, but who do you think J.S. is? It's a matter of life and death.
Life and death? My goodness! All I know is that J.S. is a woman.
That can't be right. I thought he was a sea captain.
The door bursts open. Well, well, well. What do we have here? Klaus looks up to see Count Olaf in the doorway. He's got a pencil-thin mustache and wears a white tuxedo. In this new disguise, he looks uncannily like Jacques Snicket. Sorry, I always say Jacques, but it's Jacques. Okay. Also, his shirt appears to be covered in blood. A sauna! Klaus quickly ducks out of the sauna door, and Olaf plops himself down between Charles and Jerome. Room for a third, gentlemen? And that's the end of this 4-page scene that got cut from the episode of the Hotel Dumont. Hopefully it sounds better if I add some sound design or something to this. If I didn't, you heard it raw, just trim down. But yeah, that was a cut scene where Sir and Charles actually show up in the Hotel Dumont, but unfortunately it was cut from the show and replaced with Babs and Jerome in the sauna with Klaus instead of that. So yeah, that's all we have for follow-up this week. So let's move on to our thoughts of the week. What do you have?
My thinker had a thought.
My thinker had a thought. A new TED Talk by Sofia.
That should be a thing, though. Okay, ready?
Yes.
This is gonna be great for you because it's literally you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Our eyes can see stars thousands of millions of light years away, yet they can't see a pencil that lands on the floor of our desk.
Yes.
Like, you couldn't read the sign that was 20 feet away out the window.
So
you can see stars that are 1 million years away.
Yeah, there's a somebody for mayor sign.
Yeah.
Or like what was it? Like a couple weeks ago, I was talking to you at night and the lights were off, and you're not even looking at me.
You were looking in the complete opposite direction. I'm like, how do you not realize
I don't
my
have
voice is over here?
echolocation. Okay. My thought of the week is poorly written TV shows are actually more true to life than well-written ones. The characters and their motivations usually make no sense, the plot is convoluted and drags on, and it's often pointless and meandering, and the ending usually sucks. In short, bad TV shows are more true to life than good ones.
That is true, but the only reason we watch it is so that we get away from that. So
yeah. That's why we don't like bad movies. So by that logic, bad movies are good movies, and what we think are good movies are bad movies. Okay. This week's word of the week is victuals. 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 And it comes in all sorts of forms if you want to use it as an adverb or verb or adjective or whatever. So it means food or provisions typically prepared for consumptions. In short, it's food, something to eat. So, example sentences.
Wait, hold on. Read that again.
Food or provisions typically prepared for consumption.
Okay, what food is prepared to not eat? Who prepares food and doesn't eat it?
The cafe. They'll prepare, like Starbucks will make food and they'll just put it on display and let it harden up.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I have a story about that.
Yeah.
So, my friend at the barista, okay, she goes, so my friend asks for, like a brownie thing, and she goes, oh, we don't have any more brownies. And he goes, no, but there's one right there on the display, right? Mm-hmm. And she goes, oh, those aren't for sale. And he goes, why not? It's a brownie. And she was like, it's really hard and really old. And he was like, it's still a brownie. So he ended up arguing with her for like 10 minutes, and he got the brownie. Okay, and he paid like almost $3 for it.
Starbucks.
And he ate it, and I'm like, that's so old. But anyway, apparently it tasted good. I don't know. But
you can never trust Springtown coffee, am I right?
Oh, that's just old. Okay.
It's prepared fresh daily, every morning, and shipped out from our warehouse.
Yeah.
Sure it is. Okay, example.
Wait, I have a thing about words. Okay. There's nothing stopping us from coming up with a new English word that is the perfect rhyme for the word orange.
That is true. What should it be, though?
The thing is, it doesn't exist, so we're like, we don't know. Okay, so.
Grange. That feels like it could be a word. Grange.
The thing is, okay, we can't. It would have to be a word that just has the word orange in it with like a syllable in the front.
Well, but Grange works. So like I'm imagining it's like a word that you would use when grilling. So like this is the grilling range, but it's like a portmanteau. So Grange. Oh, put the steak on the Grange.
What? Do you even grill?
Do you even grill, bro? I've grilled once. Turned out bad. I every time I try to be like Bobby Flay, I just fail. So,
Bobby fail.
Okay, back to the word victuals. Its Middle English comes from Old French vit ali, from late Latin victualia, and it's the neuter plural of Latin victualis from victus, food, related to vivere, which is live. You probably didn't need to know any of that, but I still said it. Okay, if our voices sound different, it's because it's been 30 minutes and we took a break. Just like old times, am I right?
Yeah.
Taking so many breaks in between recording sessions.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're on to joke time.
Let's just take a year break. Bye.
Yeah. Hey, we're back. It's been a year. Did you know? Okay. So now we're on to joke time, and I actually, last week, I had a lot of trouble finding good jokes. This year, our yearly podcast. This month, I actually had a lot of success finding jokes. There was a lot of good stuff on Reddit this week. So I'm stocked up for the next couple of episodes, and I picked two of the best ones out of them to do today. So before I get into mine, how about yours? What are your jokes?
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
You know why you never see elephants hiding up in trees?
Huh.
because they're really good at it. What?
Turns out.
Okay.
My boss at Pixar and I, we got into a fight over our lack of new movies, but then we made up.
I don't get it.
We made Up, the movie. Up. Oh.
Why don't blind people skydive?
Huh, I don't know.
Because it scares their dogs. Imagine if they actually went skydiving, though. Wow. Wait, why would you even bring your dog, though?
I wonder how it would feel.
Your dog doesn't need to see anything.
Okay. So the scientists say that people who are incapacitated from taking drugs or whatever are less likely to get hurt when they get into car crashes because the substances cause them to be more relaxed and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not all tense and they don't get hurt. So in the same way, would a blind person who can't see, would they not get hurt because they can't see that they're falling, or would they get hurt even more because their anxiety levels are so high because they can't see?
I have no idea.
Only one way to find out. My final joke is I saw a Korean martial artist. He was holding out a basket of donuts on the street. When I asked if I could take two, he said no. So I said, "Can I at least take one dough?"
What are you doing? No.
Please, I want to take one dough.
No.
Tell that one at Taekwondo tonight. Oh, you're going to Taekwondo tonight? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You should tell that joke.
No. I'm not going to get beat
Gets
up.
kicked in the stomach by Grandmaster. I am sorry, sir. I'm sorry I've disappointed you. Can I at least take one dough? So let's move on to topic time, where today we're going to be talking about the much-awaited Season 4/Season 301 of the Amazon original show, Just Add Magic. And I feel like I always bring this up every time we talk about Amazon original shows, but why do they name their seasons 101, 201, 202, 301?
Because they're going to be different than Netflix, like Season 1, Season 2, Season 3.
But like, everyone understands that we can do half seasons now, and it's totally acceptable in the film industry now. So, like, why can't they just call it Season 1, Season 2, Season 3 instead of Season 1, Season 2, Season 2, Part 2?
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. Doctor Who did that, and I just don't know. When they did that with Matt Smith...
I just don't know. How did you say that? I just don't know.
Okay, stuff we do know is last season, Season 302, this is where we left off. So when the magical cookbook opens up to a map, the three protectors go on individual quests to save magic from disappearing forever. At the end, they find the Garden of Eden, as I call it, or the Spice Garden, where Caroline meets them to destroy and forget magic forever.
Okay, I thought her name was Jen.
Jen?
Yeah, was that not her name? Or Jill?
Jill. Okay, I wrote Caroline. I don't know why I was thinking that.
What?
I don't know why I thought that was her name. Well, wait, that was her real name, though.
No. Well, maybe.
I think it was. Either way, somebody there. We don't know them anymore. She killed all the plants in the garden. She drank her smoothie and forgot about magic forever. She thought she had spelled Kelly, Hannah, and Darby to forget the magic, but their counterspell that they had cooked work, and they remembered it. So this was the cliffhanger. This was the cliffhanger we were left off. Cliffhanger, hanging from a cliff. And that's why it's called Cliffhanger. That's where we were left off in the last season, Season 302. And if you didn't hear our discussion of that past season and you want to hear it, it's in our episode archives. You can just search it up. You can look at the show notes for the number, but if you just Google for Just Add Magic Rocked Anywhere, you'll find it there.
Yo, pause really quick.
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the restaurant / place called Red Robin?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen one.
I was literally listening to Roderick on the Line, where John Roderick, was talking about how when he was in high school, he worked at the Red Robin, which was the first original Red Robin, which was in Alaska somewhere, because he lived in Alaska. And he was just a terrible employee who's really bad at his job. But one day he was sent in the back to find something for one of the cashiers or something. And he found in the back the Red Robin costume, because you know what Red Robin is, right? It's the robin red. It's a bird. So he puts the costume on, and he just starts walking around the restaurant without anyone's permission and just starting waving customers. And all of a sudden, all the customers are happy, and they're like, "Hi, I want to take pictures with you," and all this stuff. And so all of a sudden the manager's like, you know what? You can do this job. This is what you're actually good at. So they sent him out over the entire summer he was working at the Red Robin. He was visiting children in sick hospitals. He says, someone just threw me in the back of their truck. We drove to the hospital unannounced. We just showed up. I start waving to children, saying hi, taking pictures with dying kids. I was the highlight of their day. And he said he just spent his whole summer in the Red Robin costume. It was a really good episode of the show. I don't know. It depends if you like listening to that show or not. That's a whole nother discussion again too. But anyway, if you did want to hear our discussion of the previous season of the show, you can Google it. It's there. So before we move on to talking about the fourth season, I just want to give everyone a spoiler alert. We will be spoiling the season and a lot of the big plot points. So go watch the whole season. Come back after you're finished drying your tears after that final episode, and come back and listen to our discussion. So, before we move on, let's talk about what our expectations were for the fourth and, yes, final season. What were you expecting from the season when you went in?
Okay, they were going to keep the book. Everybody was going to still have their memory of magic, including the OCs, which I was wrong about that, I think. Or was, I don't remember. I don't know. I just thought everybody was going to have their memory of magic, and I don't remember what happened to that RJ/AJ kid, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened to him, so I thought he was going to, show up.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Because, there has to be, a bad guy. Otherwise, the show's pointless.
Or a bad... Okay. I won't spoil it this early in the episode. Okay. My expectation for this season is that the book would leave them and that they would try to get it back while encountering trials of various kinds.
Nope.
We see how Kelly's life would change with her mom as mayor. We'd see the changes to Darby's life with Amy, who actually didn't even come back this season.
Yep.
And we'd see Hannah's life at Fox Canyon, which was kind of the point of season 2, part 2? Season 3, part 2? I don't know, I'm confused. Anyway, those were our expectations. So we started off with a good season opener, which was called Just Add Time Travel. So here's the synopsis for that. After regrowing the magical garden, Kelly's grandma appears from 1975. Becky has cooked a recipe that inadvertently alters the course of history, and everything is turned topsy-turvy. Kelly, Hannah, and Darby have to go travel back in time to 1975 to set things straight. So in this episode, it was kind of a self-contained story by itself, just sitting there. It didn't really branch out into any of the other seasons, unless I'm completely thinking of something wrong. I don't know. We watched it all in one day.
I know, so I'm like,
They're all running together in one. But I tried my best to separate my notes out for each episode. So at the beginning of this episode, we did see something new, not really relating to the show, but there is a new Prime original graphic thing that shows up. Sound is the same, but the little graphics different. What do you think of it?
Say what now?
The new Prime original thing that goes dun, 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 dun.
Oh.
The new Netflix one is really cool though. You saw that one?
Yeah.
Like the books? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what our notes were for episode 1. Do you have anything specific you want to say about this one?
I feel like this season was made more not like other ones where it's like they build on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was more made, oh, what if this happened? What if that happened? And then they made it into an episode and they're like, oh, wait, how do we tie it into the next one? So it's like they have 2 minutes left in the episode and they finally redeem it to make it
a story.
Build on the previous one.
Yeah, a constant through line to the whole thing.
Yeah, because they're just like, oh, that would be cool if, old Becky came back from 19 whatever. Yeah.
Now, throughout this whole episode, I could just hear David Tennant's voice in my head going, that'll cause a rift in the time-space continuum. Every time they would do anything. Just don't buy vintage jeans that aren't vintage because they're not old. Anyway. Also, I vaguely feel like there is a lot of, I've been starting to notice a lot of Doctor Who, references in the show. Maybe they're not intentional, like they were not in the Nutcracker thing. But when they go back to 1975 and then we get to see they mess something up, they come back, Becky messed something up, ruined the whole time. They go into an alternate timeline where we see Miss Silvers as the only person who can control magic or something, and we get to see her town where she's basically using magic to rule town. And not that the townspeople don't know, it's like they know, they have statues. Like, if you cross the mayor, Miss Silvers, she's going to turn you into a statue and put you in the center of town, which is a lot of weeping angels kind of stuff there.
Yeah.
So, anyway, when at the end of this one, where they go to the river, I think is when they go to the river in this one, is it?
River.
I don't know. Yeah, they go to a river and they rip up the recipe or something.
Oh, yeah, I think it was in that episode.
It doesn't really matter, but I just had a question. Who was that lady a couple of seasons back where they met some lady in the forest when they went camping or something?
The Traveler?
The Traveler? Who was that? What did she do?
I didn't really get who she was. I think she was just there to warn them about Chuck or something.
Yeah, they didn't bring it back. I don't know. I feel like if it was such an important character, and if the book only picks out protectors 3 at a time, then why isn't the Traveler more present in their lives, helping them out with random things? Or if it's just so busy or something. I don't know.
No, Chuck killed her, didn't he?
Why would he? He has no reason to do that.
Yeah, didn't he kill her?
No, he has no reason to. Why would he's a good guy?
No. Okay, when he met her, because he said, you're not going to stop me again.
Well, his intentions seemed bad just because he was trying to save his sister. Okay, that's besides the point. Moving on to episode 2, we see that Mama P has just packed her bags and left up Saffron Paul's, and Springtown Coffee, aka Starbucks, has come into town to replace her with someone named Aaron at the head. It's like manager position or whatever. This is where this season's plot line, this is where it starts picking up, where the through line throughout the season. So Aaron agreed to give Mama P her memories back because, as you remember in the previous season, Mama P's memories of magic were taken away.
Yeah.
So Aaron agrees to give Mama P her memories back and put her up in a nice resort in the Bahamas in exchange for her help to make a special recipe. Aaron wants Mama P's help. And we see in the end, through some revealing, that the recipe requires morbium. We later go on to find out this recipe is the Keep the Cookbook recipe. And when I say Aaron throughout this thing, Aaron in air quotes, because it's not really Aaron.
Plot twist! Psych.
Also, if you hear pages rustling, I have switched back to my paper notes and digital notes together. So
okay. When this happened, the plot twist thing, I was so confused because, like, me and Grandma, we had to, talk it out and explain it. Because, okay.
A lot of our motions in the air.
I thought that Aaron, or not Aaron, the bad person, whoever the bad person was, the enemy, they had pretended to be Aaron, so they looked like Aaron. You remember, like, when Chuck took the form of Jake?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I thought somebody had just, looked like Aaron, and then when they went to meet Mama P that time, they decided to look like Kelly. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but no.
But no, it was actually Kelly, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Spoiler alert. I already said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Episode 3, 4, and 5, they all kind of blur together. In episode 3, they find a pocket watch that we still don't really have any solid answers for, other than it belonged to Chuck's assistant or whatever back in the 1800s. Like, I don't know, did he, go to a welder or something and say, hey, put the fork, knife, and spoon in this, make it look cool, and it's just has no purpose? Or did it actually have some sort of purpose?
I know, I feel like they wanted to make an episode out of that.
And they ran out of time.
Or they just, well,
I have some notes on that at the end.
Because, okay. It was supposed to be 10 episodes, but it ended up 11 episodes.
Yeah.
So they might as well have made it 12 by adding an episode about
They might as well make it 13 and make it a full season.
Yeah, see?
But I did have some notes here. Now that we're on that, I'll just turn my pages back and try to find that. But this, they could have made it 13. But I feel like they made the good decision, just like we talked about last week with the season 4 events, to tighten it up and just make the plot line more tight and not be all wishy-washy all over the place and filler and all that. They kept it nice, they kept it concise, they kept the plot line through of the night band and all that nice and tight. Because if they had done 13 episodes, we'd be sitting here right now complaining, oh, it just felt loose and there was so much filler and junk in it. 11 episodes is good. It was no more,
would have been
no
better.
less.
12.
Maybe. But you just want another episode.
Yeah.
Add a 12th episode and we would have been an hour late to work the next morning, so.
What do you mean?
We were watching on... Anyway, it's besides the point. So, through this season, I've started to realize that there are a lot more spices than we know of. So, like, we know all the classics, Gallifreysian, Carnesian, Elysian, all this stuff. But I started writing them down, and when we saw Chuck's spice chart, which I'll have a screenshot of if you want to look at it yourself in the show notes, I started writing down all the spices, and I realized there are 19 spices that we know of, and one more I couldn't read because it was in cursive. So, here are all of the spices and what we know about them, in no specific order. Grund, Taurian affects time. Carnesian, which is emotion. Elysian, Gallifreysian, which sounds like Gallifrey from Doctor Who. Lapsus, Tengu, Merwaldian, Livonian, Night Blooming, which is repulsion/attraction. Werpa, Cedronian, which has a downside. Werpos, which is physical. Kalimba, Nakuian, or Nakaian. There was two spellings. Somebody in props department made a mistake and spelled it with a U or an A 2 different ways, so I don't know which one it is. Morbium, Parkinian, which is a mix of... What was it again?
Huh?
Parkinian, what's that a mix of? It's Par
is,
Parker?
Par is, what's her face?
I wrote it down here somewhere.
What's the girl's name?
Oh, here it is. Oh, wait, no.
Hannah, there we go. Par is Hannah's name. Quinn is Kelly's name, and then Ian is Darby's name.
Sure.
Yeah, that's how it was.
Okay. I wrote it down, but I didn't
Did you
write
not
the
pay
names on it.
attention? That's how it was.
I just wrote friendship spice on it.
Wow.
Atlantean and Romani. Or this is the 2 final spices. So in total, 19 spices, which is a lot. And I feel like they could have kept this down to 5 spice families. But then again, what Grandma Quinn said about there being so many little bottles and vials in the trailer makes sense because it's a lot of spices. So moving on, episode 4 and 5, we start to find out the inclusion of Piper back again, the Darby's friend from the theater group. So in episode 4 and 5, they tell Piper about their magic, to which she responds, "I thought you were weird, but it turns out you were just magicians," which not a good excuse. They then use her to cook something to help them out to get over...
When you say that, all I think of is that video where Michael's running around the office and he keeps doing the same magic trick over and over again where he clicks the button and the bird comes out of the wand.
Bird.
He's like,
Oh.
Hold on. Oh. Runs around the office again. Oh.
Okay. They then
At the end of that video, he's like, how did we do? And the person behind the camera, you did better than last time.
It was Toby. For reference, listeners, Sophia doesn't watch The Office.
I don't.
She's just watching a outtakes compilation video with me.
It's just whatever's funny, because, that's, not very much of it, so...
Looks like we're gonna have to get you a bodyguard or something from all the hate mail you're gonna start to get.
I don't got a mailbox. I waited so long to say that. You don't know how many things, I literally, in my brain, I have, a list of little random phrases.
On your deathbed, people are going to be asking you questions, and you're just going to be listing off all the things in your brain you waited so long to say.
I wait so long to say stuff, because, nobody ever says anything that has anything to do with it.
You're just going to sound crazy. I don't have a mailbox. Okay.
Well, you don't have to worry about that one, because I already said it, so yeah.
Okay. Well, with your dementia and stuff, you're going to keep saying. Okay.
Say what?
Okay. So, in episode 4 and 5, they decide to tell Piper about the magic, to which she responds, "That you were aware, but it turns out just magicians." They then use her to cook something to help them get over what's the word?
She would be like if me and you had the cookbook, and she's like, you're over there, you're cooking with whoever the third person is, and I'm just like, what should I do? I'm like, what should I do? And y'all are like, stand 3 feet away and hold the cookbook.
You can keep
Don't
breathing.
touch the eggs.
You can throw out the trash.
Yes. Oh, you can go make us food to eat later.
You can go put some music on. No, I don't like that song.
Yeah.
Okay. They like she said, they use Piper to help them cook something to get over a what's the word here? A spell.
Fever.
Okay. I got a fever.
Same thing.
To get over a spell someone put on them that caused anything that they touched to rot. Looking back, though, this is a question for you. Did Kelly cause the rot spell? The rot thing?
Yes.
She did it?
Yes.
Okay.
They showed it.
They did?
She put it in the muffins.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
I was just so...
See, look, he's the one with notes, but he didn't even pay attention. Like,
well, okay, I wasn't looking at the screen. You know that, right? We were watching with descriptive audio.
The one with the descriptive audio. Okay, I thought it was a narrator. And I was like, oh, is that Aaron? Is that the bad person? Oh, and I was asking Corban, and he's like, oh, that's just descriptive audio. I'm like, oh, and you couldn't tell me.
I turned it on and you didn't notice. So for reference for people who don't know what it is, descriptive audio is this thing where it's basically if people who are blind want to watch a movie, they can change the audio and it adds a narrator to almost any movie and it just describes what's happening on the screen. But what they're reading is written by somebody with the script who's like describing all the action for you. So they're kind of spoiling it for you, but it's like a narrator. So Sophia didn't know when we started watching the last 5 episodes of the season with descriptive audio, and she thought it was a narrator until like 2 episodes later, and they say cut to black. She's like, why do they keep saying cut to black? Why would the narrator say that? And I'm like, descriptive audio. Anyway, yeah. So let me turn my notes because I'm way off here. Going to where are we going to go to? Episode 6. Oh yeah, last note on season. Last note of the season. We're done here. Last note of episode 5 is that this is where the episode timelines started to go off because it's clearly autumn from the sign on the door of the Springtown coffee shop. So are they skipping school or what? Because there's no real break here unless it's Thanksgiving break. But then again, we would have seen something about Thanksgiving break, and they're not. School is happening because some episodes are like, oh yeah, I was at school today. Oh yeah, Hannah was at school today with this weird kid. Oh yeah, they were at school today for a rehearsal for a play. So are they just like, they don't care about the timeline anymore, or is something going on? Because obviously this isn't all happening on weekends. So that's something to think about. Moving on to episode 6, when a mysterious thief, Kelly, steals Chuck's pie pan, which is this the one he used to take Rose out of the book with or something like that? What did he use the pie pan for? What was the big deal with it?
He used it to cook the pie that made his sister go in the book.
Go in or get out? Because he wouldn't
want in.
Why would he put his sister in the book?
Because he did it on accident.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
He doesn't even pay attention.
Yeah, when a mysterious thief steals Chuck's pie pan from a museum, Kelly, Hannah, and Darby cook a spell to rewind the day and stop the culprit, only except they get stuck in the loop and find themselves repeating the same day over and over again. Which, fun fact, this is basically Groundhog Day, and we were watching this on Groundhog Day. So I was like, okay, anyway, that's weird coincidences. So we have to say, though, I think Sophia agrees with me, that the number one thing in this episode that we saw was the dented 58 on stage.
Oh, yeah.
SM58, if you don't know.
It wasn't, if you paid attention, it wasn't in one of the replays. Mm-hmm. One of their... Recap? Yeah.
Yeah. Which, speaking of recaps, if as we notice, they're playing clips. If you normally skip the recaps, don't. Go back and watch them throughout the season. Even if you've already seen the episode, just go back and watch the first 30 seconds or whatever the recap is. Because there are clips in the recaps that are not in the actual episodes. Or they were put into the recaps and then the episodes were cut down and those scenes were cut out, but they left them in the recap. So, it's interesting. It's good to watch those. So it also notes from this episode, this is where we started getting nitpicky. Sophia claims that the wardrobe department is buying a lot of their wardrobe from Walmart.
Yes.
Expand.
They are. They're... Wait, what?
No, I was going to say, explain yourself.
Oh, I was like, what? Expand the globe? Yeah. Yeah, Walmart clothes expands till the point where it rips. No,
Or is it the people wearing it expand?
well,
It's a little
either
above.
way it rips, okay?
It's
Yeah, her shirt, when they were wearing the pajamas for her sleepover, Kelly was wearing a shirt that looked like it was from Walmart.
Excuse me, it's from Target.
Okay.
It's the same thing I keep saying about IKEA. All the furniture and all the blinds and everything are all IKEA stuff. Like, we went to IKEA the day after we watched this whole season, and I'm like, that was on episode 5. That was on episode 6. Okay.
That was in my bedroom.
That's my notebook. Their curtains in their trailer is the cover of my notebook.
Yeah.
Side note here, little story. Darby mentions National Think Your Mail Carrier Day, and it reminded me of the time when I was like 9 or something. It was National Mail Carrier Day was the next day. I saw it on my calendar. I had one of those highlight calendars. And I went in, I made waffles in the kitchen, made chocolate chip waffles, I put one in a Ziploc plastic bag, taped it to the mailbox, put a note on it.
I remember this.
And I said, Happy National Mail Carrier Day, because I thought the mailman came like really early in the morning. And I didn't know they came at 1 o'clock, so the thing sat outside of the mailbox all day, and the birds came and started picking at it in the morning, and they picked the plastic off and ate the waffle. And I was very devastated. The mailman got my note, though. Today I've learned his name is Fred, so thank you, Fred. He's given us a lot of life advice. When we were outside shoveling shingles last summer, he was out there. He's like, you should buy a wagon the next day.
That was last summer.
That was last summer. Can you believe it?
What?
All that hard work got the gains, the muscles. Okay. Episodes 7, 8, and 9, combining these all together. These are where I just got thrown into the story and kind of stopped taking notes here, just really paying attention. So in 7, now that they know who the Night Bandits is, the protectors, the friends cook a spell that lets them see through the villain's eyes. At least they thought who the villain was. They thought it was Aaron, but it turns out it was clone Aaron, a.k.a. Kelly. Things get complicated when Darby peers through Hannah's eyes and sees something troubling at her school. So that was the B plot line. Hannah's life at the whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called. Foxfire? Fox Canyon?
Yes.
I don't know. Episode 8, Darby attempts to solve Hannah's problems by cooking a karma spell, while Mama P has a revelation on her extended vacation. At the end, Hannah discovers that she can handle her issues at school without using magic at all. Episode 9, Hannah and Darby throw a surprise party for Kelly, who is distracted by the mystery of the Night Bandit and can't enjoy her own party. Turns out Kelly may be keeping a secret of her own, which, as we find out, she is the Night Bandit. So, this is where we get into the exciting parts.
Did you write, she is ... turn the page, the Night Bandit? Did you write that?
No. I was just turning the page to get to the next note section. Okay. So, if I mention this coming through and you get confused by what I mean by the smoothie. So, if someone eats the quiche, that means that they remember magic. And when you drink the smoothie, that means you forget the magic. So that's for context. So 9 is where we start getting into the big plot twist, all the big plot line. So, as we said, Kelly is the Night Bandit. And she, in this episode, drank the smoothie, meaning made her forget the magic. She's Piper. So Piper forgot all the magic because Piper saw her with the Morbium and would have tattled on Kelly and what she was doing. Episode 10.
She would not, because she doesn't know.
But, I mean,
she would have been like, hey, she was acting weird.
And she had this little vial with a little brown bead in it.
A black dot.
On episode 10, this is the recap for that one, as they race to break the spell that is poisoning Kelly, which we find out at the end of the episode that Kelly is acting like this, has become the Night Bandit, because that was the downside for them bringing the garden back to life. So they thought the downside of bringing the garden back to life was the fact that the spices were being spread all over the town and stuff. But it turns out that the downside was Kelly losing her vision on her priorities of all this stuff and trying to keep the cookbook for herself. Which is weird because the magic in the book, it picks what the consequences are, right? So why would it pick a consequence that negatively affects itself.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand.
That's a little confusing.
Yeah. Oh, well.
In this episode, when they're doing a sleepover, though, I couldn't help but think of my my sleepover book that I discovered,
Oh, no.
which we'll be talking about next week. We're going to talk about how to have a radical sleepover and what the best movies that will make you just shed those tears out of your tear pores are. Hint, hint.
It's not tear pores, it's your eyes.
Your eyes, tear pores. I only cry out of my tear pores.
Those don't even exist.
Yeah. Anyway, that's something we'll be talking about soon. So, this is the where I came up with another question. Wasn't Grandma Quinn living with the Quinn family?
Yeah.
That was a little confusing because she's like, oh yeah, I found this in my attic, these family home movies in my attic, bringing them over. I thought she was living with them. That's a little confusing.
Yeah, me too.
Technically, the house they live in is her house, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when the first season happened, she couldn't talk and all that stuff, right? And her son, Scott, just stayed in his childhood home, which is her home, and just basically helped his mother. So yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense.
Wait, hold up. I forgot that she couldn't talk.
Yeah, that was back at the beginning of the seasons.
Wait a second. So how does she even, live?
Excuse me, Helen Keller lived, and she couldn't see.
Okay, she knew sign language. Grandma Quinn didn't.
Oh. Interesting.
Yep.
Got to go back and listen to our review of that and see what we had to say about that. At the end of this episode, when we're watching the home movies, this is where we started shedding a couple tears here and there because we get this throwback montage from all the past 4 seasons, and it just really hit me in the feels, as people say these days. You got to really see how they grew up over the past 5 years, I think it's been, that it took to make this show.
I guess.
It's been a long time. We've been watching the show for a long time, and it really, I'll touch on this when I do my overview of the whole season. We kind of only started this podcast because of the show, and we've grown up with these kids as they've made the seasons over the past couple of years, which is interesting. Really look back and see all this stuff. So, episode 11, final episode of the season. This is the synopsis. Grandma disappears into thin air. Speaking of Grandma Quinn. Grandma disappears into thin air, prompting Kelly.
Did they ever get her back?
Hannah.
Did they ever get her back?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Fell asleep or something. Grandma disappears into thin air.
I thought they just gave up.
Nope, they brought her back at the end with the cookbook, and the fork disappeared or whatever from the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Grandma disappears into thin air, prompting Kelly, Hannah, and Darby to travel through time to create a brand new spice that can save her. But will they have to pay the ultimate sacrifice and say goodbye to the cookbook forever? So in this episode, they go back to 1800s to Chuck's time, which I wanted to bring that up here for a second. Throw back to the time that I was Chuck, the actor who plays Chuck, Zach Callison. I was his PA, his personal assistant, when he was performing live with Focus on the Family's Adventures in Odyssey here in Dallas. I was his assistant over there, and I was just bringing him food and orange juice and stuff. I think he asked me for, you know how they used to make those waffles that were inside of plastic bags and you would just microwave them?
Yeah, I remember.
He asked me for that and a Tropicana orange juice, and that's what I brought him. But it's a shame I didn't talk to him that much because I just spent all my time talking to Jess Harnell, the guy who voices like 90% of characters on Cartoon Network and stuff. I was just talking to him the whole time. And they're asking him, does a bird really live in your head? Which I don't know who told me that. Somebody told me, he's like, did you know that Jess Harnell once had a bird nest in his hair because he has so much hair? I was like, whoa. I wasted my time. I wasted his time asking him about them. But anyway, I have assigned...
Hold on. How old was that kid back then, Zach?
I don't know. He's
he was
19
12,
now.
right?
Yeah, he was 12 back then.
Yeah.
He was young. I think he was the youngest actor there. But now they have other people play his character now. I don't think he plays the part anymore. Yeah, that was a fun time. That was a fun day. It's also the day we met Josh and Kevin. And hey, we talked about this day 2 episodes ago, and I talked about the day when we met Bongo Rod and he funded a show.
Yeah, this was the same couple of days. Yes.
Same event, yeah. Okay. I've covered almost all these notes here, and at the end of the episode, they get Grandma back. They discover the Parquinian, which is what they needed to create, which is their special Quinn, but it's Park.
You know what?
Okay, this episode is what I like to call the start of the next chapter, where it's a nice, solid ending, but it also leaves it open for discussion and a possible another season if they do. But I know they won't do another season unless I do a reboot.
See, here's the thing. They could do another season because they wouldn't have to have Kelly, Hannah, and Darby.
Mm-hmm.
They would need that kid.
Zoe.
Yeah. Which she's like 12 probably.
Yeah. I'll get
she'd
to
be
that.
fine.
I got something about that you'll be excited to hear. So at the end of this episode, we get a nice wrap-up, like a series of unfortunate events. I keep bringing you back to that. We get to see what happens to everyone in their future, because they go to the future, they plant the spice, they realize it's going to take them like 18 years or whatever just to get the spice fully grown. So they go into the future, they meet their future selves. When I say they, I'm speaking of Kelly, Hannah, and Darby. They meet their future selves, they get the spice, but while they're there, they get to kind of interact with their future selves. And we find out, I don't think we find out what Kelly does, because she is the one who's keeping it all quiet. She doesn't want to tell her past self what she becomes. We find out Hannah becomes some sort of...
No. Her future self wanted to tell her what she'd become, but she said, no, never mind.
Yeah. So we do find out Hannah became a professor of something. We find out that...
Darby's some, famous person.
Some sort of... I think she was a writer, because wasn't there an episode 2 seasons ago where she wanted to be a writer and she was doing some sort of mystery thing?
I think so.
Look, she doesn't... She's not dressed like a theater person, so I'm guessing it's not theater. I'm guessing it's a book. Because, there was an episode where she met someone in a hotel lobby.
Who gets famous on theater?
Lots of
Nobody
people.
does that.
Excuse me, Neil Patrick Harris.
That's not theater. That's
James
acting.
Corden.
That's acting. James Corden is his own thing.
He's a special person.
Yes.
He can go by himself. Anyway, we also see Jake. Jake bought the place back from Mama P. I don't know what happened to her. She left or something.
And they died by then. I'm just saying, they died by then.
No, she would... Oh, wait.
You're
right.
Miss Silvers is for sure gone.
Yeah, that's a sad possibility.
And so is Becky.
Yes.
Mama P.
That's that. Yeah, that's sad. You know what? That's probably why they didn't show it. That is interesting. Okay, moment of silence. Back to Jake, though.
Fam.
He bought the place from Mama P. And he calls it Jake's Deluxe Cafe, where they call him Papa J. Papa John's?
I'm so glad they didn't say Daddy.
Daddy J. Oh, no.
Daddy Jake.
Okay, that's enough from
Daddy
there.
Jake in the...
But the one thing that we do find out at the end of this episode, after we do know that Gina leaves to New York to become a piano player for some ballet company, we do find out that the book...
Okay, wait. Okay, Mama P told Gina that she was going to go with her.
Yeah.
To help her settle in.
But then
at
she
the end
opens
of the
cafe.
episode, she's told everybody she was going to stay there and run Mama P's.
Yeah.
So, what?
Hey, that's just her character, okay? She can never make up her mind.
Oh, man. That part when she walked and she was like, breaking news. Kelly's the bad guy. And everybody's like, uh-huh. And I got on a plane to come over here. Uh-huh. And wow. And she just it's great.
I wrote it down here. It's
Great.
it took a boat and 2 planes to get here, and you already knew.
Yeah.
You could have called. Okay. Oh, well, the phone lines were tapped, Okay. But we do have the sad ending here, is that the book does leave Kelly, Hannah, and Darby for, drumroll please, Zoe, Aaron's child, who moved. Now here is where I bring my pitch for the revival of Just Add Magic in 5 years, maybe. And also, the revival of Gordon McGibbon's Life on Normal Street. Put these together, okay? Hear me out here. So Zoe moves. She says she's moving to some city because her mom is now the head of something, right? She's settling down. Some guy, I don't know what it is. But they're moving to the city. Well, what's just outside the city? It's Normal Street. The little town of Normal area. So I could imagine that if she's settling down and stuff, that she's going to want to have a nice suburban neighborhood. So let's make it Normal Street. They're moving there. Well, it is already canon in the Normal Street universe that magic exists. Think back to episode 1 with the magic frog, the kid. Magic exists on Normal Street. Magic exists in Just Add Magic. Put them together. Zoe moves to Normal Street. Zoe moves into Gortimer's house where he used to live and befriends Mel and Ranger. And together, Mel, Ranger, and Zoe become the new protectors of the book.
Whoa, the age gap, though.
What do you mean? There's no age gap. Okay, maybe a couple years.
No, you need to have... Okay, you need to have it...
Come on, they still look the same, Sophia.
What's their kids? Ranger and Mel's kids.
Drew and Ashley?
Yeah, they're kids.
They look the same.
No, they are old adults, married. They have kids. Those kids become friends with Zoe. Then they're the protectors.
But you see, if I write this and I pitch it and I make it in however many years...
Exactly, it would make sense to have kids, not, some 21-year-olds playing a 10-year-old.
Hey, that's Disney Channel,
Your pet peeve is what you're going to make.
Disney. Yeah, you are what you hate, though. You are what you hate. Gotta accept that. Okay, that's my crazy pitch.
Then, wait, if you are what you hate, then I'm a lot of candy. Because I hate a lot of candy.
Wow. Big revelations on this episode of the show.
Oh, that means I'm chocolate. Ew.
I'm having flashbacks to that Arthur episode where Arthur meets himself and his head is made of a hamburger and his arms are donut rings like the Michelin Man or something.
What?
Okay. So, I have 2 notes before we move on to our recap of the season. 1, correct me if I'm wrong, but the kids, Kelly, Hannah, and Darby, they can still cook without the book, right?
Yeah.
Because they have the spices.
They have, pictures on their phone of the recipes and stuff.
Yeah, so that works.
Plus, they can make their own.
Yeah, they still have the spices. Thing is, what happens when their spices run out?
Then, so long.
So long, buddy. So how did Mama P keep getting her spices? Oh, wait, no. They can grow them.
Yeah, they can.
You can grow them. Yeah, that's there we go. Okay. See, I was now speaking of spices, how will Zoe get the spices? Zoe. Does the book come with the spices? Like, how did Kelly get the spices, right? Because she used to keep them in this dollhouse in the attic or whatever.
I think. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Think, therefore I am.
I think, didn't they just find them with the book because they were Becky's old spices?
I think that's what it was.
And then they kept,
Oh, that's right. They found it in the trunk because she couldn't speak or whatever, couldn't remember. Yeah, that makes sense. So that poses the question: how will Zoe get the spices?
Well, she could go on a magical little hunt,
or the garden could appear.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, that is all I really have to say about this season. So
it was very good.
Very good indeed.
They're all good.
A nice final season, very emotional to the end here. Yeah, it was good. What are your final thoughts over this whole season? And once you complete that, what are your thoughts on the whole show?
Well, like I said, it was like they had ideas for what they wanted to make, and then they just somehow tied it together.
And not in a bad way.
Yeah, no, in a good way. And
it's shabby, but not in a bad way.
No, never use the word shabby.
Just kidding. Shaggy, though.
No.
It only took Shaggy 0.01% of his power to make this. That's such an old meme by the time this episode comes out.
It's just sad. Like, all the Shaggy memes are just, no. What do you, no.
Okay.
You've stooped lower than SpongeBob. That's sad. That's sad. Because he's already really low to the ground.
He's underwater even.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, your thoughts. Your thoughts on the season.
I don't know. It was good. They're all good.
Yeah, they say if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. But I think it's the opposite here. When we like something, we don't have anything to say. We're like, it's good.
Yeah. Even if I don't like something, it's like, oh yeah, I didn't like that. Cool. Bye.
Ow.
That's me.
I got shot. I don't like that.
I could never review stuff.
Yet you have a podcast.
Okay, podcasts aren't for reviewing. You.
I'll take that into consideration. I'll leave that in my complaints box. Okay, so here are my end thoughts on season 4. So when the season started, I knew it was going to be the last one, and I'm glad there were only 11 episodes instead of 13. I'm happier with the 10 episodes. I'm happier with 10 episodes with the tight plot rather than 13 episodes with the loose plot. Sorry, 11. Yeah, I'm happier with 11 episodes with the tight plot rather than 13 episodes with a loose plot and tons of filler. And I'm not saying that they ever did that in the past. They've never done that. It's always been nice and tight. This plot was so tight and so action-thrilled that I never lost interest in any of the episodes.
Yep.
When the season started, I had no clue what was going to happen. If it wasn't for them remembering the magic, season 3 could have been the last season. So, like, if they would have forgotten the magic at the end of the last season, that could have been the end. But it's good that they helped them remember, or made them remember, because I don't know how Amazon's buying process works now that their open door policy and all that stuff is closed. But I didn't think it was going to even be possible for them to make another season. But they did, even though we're waiting on... Well, that's another discussion for another time. But the plot twist of Kelly being poisoned, in quotes, really locked me onto the season. This show has meant so much to Sophia and I, and it's one of the main reasons, like I said, that we started this podcast. We've grown up a lot with the characters in the show.
How is it a main reason we started the podcast?
Because, remember a long time ago, we were on Instagram. You had just gotten Instagram, 5 years ago? And we were on there.
5? Yeah.
Yeah.
How old am I?
We were scrolling through it.
I got it like 3 years ago.
There was an Instagram ad for Just Add Magic, and he said, hey, I want to watch the show.
Oh, yeah, 3 years ago. Three.
Really?
Not that old.
But it was for the first season. So it had to be 4 years ago. There's been 4 seasons, so they come out over 4 years. Let me go to... I have the page open here. Let's go over Amazon.com. Just Add Magic. Season 101. This is... Oh, you're right. 2016. Released in January... No, wait. No. The first episode, the pilot, came out January 15th, 2015. And the rest of the episodes came out exactly 1 year later on January 14th, 2016.
Yeah, see?
So it makes sense. We saw the pilot, and we waited a year, then it came out.
No, I never watched the pilot. What I did was, I saw the ad, and then I was like, oh, I'll watch this. And then, I don't know if the pilot was still there, but I didn't watch the pilot when it came out.
Huh. Okay. Regardless of that, we and the show have grown up watching Olivia, Aubrey, and Abby. Did I say Aubrey? Audrey. Yes. Is it Audrey or Aubrey?
I have no idea what their names are.
I'm sorry. This is the one person who actually ever contacts us about stuff. It is Aubrey. That's right. I don't know why I wrote Audrey. So we're going to watching them, and I need to say, and I think I can speak for Sophia here in saying that this show is going to go down in my book as one of the best kids shows of all time. And not only kids show, but also one of the best shows of all time.
Yeah.
Like, that's a constant trait with Amazon shows, is that they are very thorough. They're very good at making shows, even though they know it's not going to appeal to mass audiences. Because, look, you look at Netflix. They only make shows that appeal to mass audiences. And usually it turns out as junk TV shows, if you're honest. Amazon, they take market research, they look at it, they think about it, and they say, will this actually influence people? And they go in and they make good shows.
Yep.
So it's gonna hit up there on my list of top all-time TV shows, along with Gordimer up there.
Like, there's... I don't think... I've never watched anything on Netflix that actually I would say, oh, that's one of my favorite shows or whatever.
Yeah, because if I put on another episode of Just a Magic from the old seasons, you wouldn't tell me to turn it off. You would just watch it with me.
Yeah. Netflix is just a place to go when you want to waste time.
Yeah, that's true.
Amazon is a place to go when you want to oh, I feel like watching a movie.
Yeah, I want to see some quality stuff.
See it, yeah, you know.
Yeah, and it's a shame
that when I'm watching Netflix, I'm on my phone while I'm watching it. I'm not even paying attention.
Yeah, it's a shame that all these really good Amazon shows came, like, Just Add Magic, if you didn't know, is based off the book. And the author was able to pitch the show to Amazon. And it's a shame that this is going to kind of stop because Amazon closed up their open door policy, and it's not that easy to pitch shows to them anymore. And companies like DreamWorks and Sony are starting to make deals with them, and it's starting to become more of a corporate mass thing. And I really hope that they're not leaning into the direction of Netflix and making mindless content. But yeah, just if you're listening out there, Amazon people, which I know sometimes you do, keep that in mind. Remember, people come to you for quality stuff. We don't want any of that mindless action drama stuff that we can get from Netflix and anywhere else. So,
oh, and then in the Super Bowl ad, the guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know his name. What's his name?
Yeah, the guy who plays Han Solo, Harrison Ford.
What?
Yeah.
That's the name of the guy?
Wait, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the dad from Jam.
Oh, okay. There was two. You said the Amazon commercial. There was an Amazon Super Bowl ad with the guy who plays Han Solo, and
I said the commercial from the Super Bowl.
Oh, well, yeah. Before I get to that, yeah, there was an Amazon commercial with Harrison Ford, and he had his dog was in it, and every time the dog barked at Alexa would order dog toys and dog food and stuff. It was a funny commercial. But yes, like Sophia said, Kelly's dad, Adam Burleson, Andrew, sorry, not Adam. Why am I getting people's names wrong today? Andrew Burleson, Kelly's dad, our favorite dad of all shows, better than Gordimer's dad, we have to be honest here, was on a Super Bowl ad for, what was it, Hyundai, I think?
Wait, Gordimer had a dad?
Gordimer's dad. Remember the scientist, wildlife guy who kept going off to Peru?
What?
Yeah. Anyway, congratulations, Andrew. Really breaking out there. Also, if you didn't know, Andrew has a online YouTube show. It's pretty funny. It's called Grip and Electric. It's only really funny if you know stuff about the film industry, though. It's about a grip and an electric. Yeah. So those are our thoughts on Just Add Magic and season 4 and the entire show. Really, like we said, one of the best shows of all time. So we could talk about this for much longer, but we've already really hit a long time here recording. So let's move on to our recommendations of the week.
Police car chases.
Yes.
So fun to watch.
Yes. So I got Sophia into watching police car chases. I found this YouTube channel.
Wait, how did this happen again? I don't remember.
Yeah, okay. There was a clickbaity thumbnail on the sidebar, and it had a helicopter, a car, and a train. And I thought, this thumbnail looks really cool. I might as well watch it. So I start watching it.
It's really cool. It looks fake, but hey, yeah, it's really cool.
It's real.
But it wasn't fake. It was actually real. And I'm like,
car chases.
Like some people, like what? They're driving a car at like 130 something miles an hour, and then they just abruptly stop, run to the side of the freeway, jump off the freeway.
Yes, why
land on a train. And then somehow they're fine, and then they ride the train for like an hour, and then jump off in the middle of this like foresty neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And so the helicopter can't see them, and so the helicopter loses them, and then the police people can't see them. Mm-hmm. And then they eventually
even though
got
on that
away
one
for a little bit.
That one, I watching it back, the easiest way they could have solved this is if they would have taken the sniffing dogs.
I know. They brought the dog to the forest instead of sniffing the shirt that the guy dropped.
Yeah, the guy dropped his jacket or shirt or whatever. They could have had the dog sniff it because they couldn't find his trail because the dogs didn't know what they were looking for. So they could have just given the dogs the shirt and tell them to go find it, because it turns out they found him hiding in a shed somewhere, like half a mile away, so it could have been easy. Anyway, that's besides the point. But yes, police chases, they're fun. Car chases. There was one we were about to watch right now that I found when we took a break of this guy robbed a bank and he's throwing money out the window driving around Los Angeles or something. It's crazy.
The plot twist, he was just filming a music video.
Excuse me. He's like, oh, sorry, officers. I thought you were the extra police officers that I hired for my music video shoot.
Yeah. Oh, is today not tomorrow? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I got this all mixed up.
Well.
Yeah. Anyway, if you want to see, I'll have Sophia pick her favorite one. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put the one about the money and the one about the train all in the show notes if you want to watch it yourself. It's really
some of them are not okay. I don't want to say that they're sad, as in they're not exciting, because that's actually better, because
Mm-hmm.
they're surrendering peacefully. But the ones where they surrender peacefully are not exciting.
It's
So
true.
Go watch the ones where they're...
Yeah, it's like plane crash videos. Like you want to see the action and excitement. You want to see the plane crash, but then you're like, wow, people died. Actually, that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a mix of both. Yeah. It's also giving me a new appreciation for police dogs. They're very cool.
If you watch ones, I don't know what channel it is. It's like, because sometimes it'll tell you what the channel is that's like covering it.
Yeah, what helicopter it's from.
Okay, there's one channel. This guy, he gets all into it. He'll just the car's driving, and it'll just go. It's a green light through the intersection. Okay, they are driving fast, but it's a green light, and they're like, oh, and there he goes.
Yeah, there was
And
one.
they're
He drove through a green light, and he was completely fine. And he's just only going like 40 miles an hour, and the helicopter guy's like, "Oh, and he's gonna run a green light. He's gonna run it. Oh no, he almost hit that car."
And then when it's a red light, he's like, "Oh, and past the red light. Okay, all right." And then what? And then he crashes into a car, and he's like, "Oh, another crash. Oh, okay." But then a green light. Oh, the green light.
Anyway, at least he keeps our attention. That's a good thing.
That is
Okay.
fun ones.
My recommendation of the week, if I didn't recommend this already like 2 weeks ago, I started a new podcast, and no, it does not have a schedule, and no, I have no plans for it, and it's probably a one-off thing, but it's a new show called Should've, Could've, Would've, in which I talked about the High School Musical trilogy, which I was forced to watch in exchange for mundane things. But anyway, that's besides the point. I kind of enjoyed them. I liked them. So you could go watch my reviews of them. It's interesting. It's on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Corban and Sofia. Well, thank you guys for listening this week, or this month, I should say. We're now a monthly podcast. If this was your first time listening to us, as I know our Just a Magic episodes are really popular, please subscribe.
Please subscribe. Listen.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Links for all of our locations.
Or you can come find us and just listen to us talk.
Yeah, just hack in
Same
to our
thing.
house or something. Break in, hack in, same thing. Go
Just
peer in the
walk
window.
right in.
The
Same
window's
thing.
open right now. You can come listen. I can run you some headphones out and you can listen.
Yeah.
Links for all of our locations that were available, and our current location, are available at rta.space/listen. If you have any suggestions, you want to send me some jokes, you want to send us something to talk about, did you make a TV show? Did you have something you want us to critique? You can email us, rocket2anywhereshow@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us at RTA Show on Twitter. We're also available on Instagram to direct message at rocket2anywhere. Speaking of which, I don't know, I think I mentioned this last week, but the band, Rocket to Anywhere, who also keeps getting all of our messages, and we keep getting their messages, they released a new album, and it's really good. I liked it. If you like surfer pop rock music, California style, it's cool. Anyway,
Surfer.
you can find show notes for this week's episode, every single thing we mentioned, at rta.space/60, which, congratulations.
Hold up. Every single thing we mentioned?
Almost all of it.
Okay, ready? The hot dog I ate when I was 3. Good luck finding a picture of that one.
Digging through the landfill for centuries to find it. That's something
Wait,
limited
why would
do.
if I ate it, why would it be the landfill?
It's Sophia. It's the cycle of life. That's where things go.
Okay, find out it ain't there anymore.
Pick the kernels of corn out of it.
If you know what we're talking about, I don't know what you're doing.
Stop stalking us. Leave us alone. Okay. That's too much
Wait,
information.
for real though, do you still do that? Do you still have corn?
That's too much. That's none of your business, Sophia. You know what you should know. Okay.
Can't breathe, I can talk.
Of course, if this happens to everybody, then they're all just really embarrassed right now.
Wait, what?
At least now you know it's not only you. It's not only you, listener. It happens to everybody. Okay. That's enough for this week.
Okay, well.
You can follow me on Twitter at Corban Garcia.
And moi on Instagram at extra_Sofia, SOFIA.
There you go.
FIA.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, it's not that many F. Like, no, I'm emphasizing the fact that it's an F, not a PH.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll be back soon, probably next month, with sad movies and how to have a radical sleepover.
Sad
90s
movies.
style. Yeah. Join me in our...
I don't think I've ever watched a sad movie.
Excuse me, Clifford? Just keep it quiet. We'll talk about that next month, okay?
I didn't watch it, though.
Yeah, we'll find out a way to get it.
No, let's both pitch in and buy it. Because
Maybe.
it's $15, so $7.50
But we can get the
each.
DVD.
Oh, yeah, but not scratched.
It's called buying it brand new for like $5 on Amazon.
Oh, you know what? You have bright ideas.
We'll figure this out offline.
Offline, yeah.
Offline, yeah. That's what the cool kids say. Yeah. But until next month, thank you for joining us. And until then, this rocket has landed.
Skirt.
They got.
I'm wearing a skirt.
It's a kilt. Excuse me.
Well, we all have our differences.
I saw a guy the other day. He was wearing a kilt.
Yeah, he was just walking down, and I'm like, what?
When you've come to the point in life where you just don't care anymore, you're just gonna wear a kilt, and you're not even Irish. He was wearing a Cowboys football jersey and a kilt.
Yeah, like what happened there?
Sir, I aspire to not care. I aspire to care as much as you do, which means not to care at all.